flying over the tundra. It was sunny, and just seeing thousands of like geese flying with you, and then all the reflections off the ponds. It was surreal. It was like very surreal. We were just like, wow. I mean, it was like the gates of heaven are opening. We're almost there. I remember just looking at each other like, it was like utter excitement and utter fear.
Like out of National Geographic. Like the plane landed and just 100 kids just come running, you know,
see in like the African countries, you know, just all.
It was awesome. Like I was like, wow, this is where I'm supposed to be right now. I really felt like that instantly. And they said, this is your house, and we just followed like this little group of kids.
Huge. They took all our stuff.
Who took us to our house, you know, and then proceeded to run through it with like dirty feet and jump on all of our couch and everything. And but I know Tim would come home totally stressed out because it wasn't like there was like a aggression or anything in the classroom like he's seen in other. It was very passive, but it was very just like, no, I don't think I'll do that. You know, like we're going to do this today, class, and just no.
If some kid did something totally goofy, like okay, you're going to have a detention after school today or tomorrow, the whole class would like revolt and just start talking bad about you right to your face because everyone's related. So it's like, I can't believe you gave my cousin a detention, you know. And they just kind of turn off, and like they would sometimes work me where they would just like the whole class would just like refuse to do anything. And that's when I started asking them about like their life, all that stuff I talked about earlier. And visiting their homes. Like if I didn't visit their homes, I would have had a hellish year because I went to their homes and then I got like their older brothers and sisters to know that I was a cool guy, and their parents to like me, and then their parents would be like, "You're not, you know, when you go to Timok's classroom, be cool."
Because we noticed right away, you know, that, and it makes sense because they're getting new teachers every year, whatever. Why should you really listen to this guy?
I just started realizing that like their worldview, their way of looking at everything was completely different than like I've ever been taught or even knew of, you know, and so I wanted to make my classroom more reflective of their culture. And the first thing I did was I was mainly teaching biology, ecology, life science courses, and so like everything I taught, I had them also give me the Yupik word for it. And I mean, there were many times where I would just sit on one of the tables and just have them talking to me about different places and stuff, stories about the Yuchoi, the little people. So I quickly, just through the kids, learned all the problems with subsistence that like they're having, their parents are having, like the difficulties they're having with Alaska Fish and Game, like regulations. And so we did all these cool projects just focusing on, you know, real life issues that are directly impacting them. So we would talk about all this stuff like in my classroom, and like my class quickly just became Yupik-fied, you know. When I started teaching, I pretty much never came home. I was just in my classroom all night trying to like learn how to do this.
6 preps or whatever.
Yeah, and then Kyra's finally like, you have to come home at this time, and you have to have one day a week where you come home right at 4. You know, so we had Thursday Tim and Kyra evening. Yeah. But by Christmas time I knew how to teach, and I had everything rolling. I was much faster doing lesson plans and everything. Like I ended up like loving every single one of them, and I really wanted to see them graduate. That was like my first year ever teaching. I was a first year teacher. The main thing we learned is like the sense of place, and tied to that just the sense of community and the inner networks of kinship, how strong those bonds are. I mean, you could really see it. It was evident, just this, how important the nuclear family was.
It's like, and they're just so close and have all these ties, and you want to feel that too with them. And you do to a certain extent, but you're not Yupik. You're not going to ever be that. I mean, we could stay there, raise our kids there, but we would never be that. But yet we have this family already. Why don't we, you know, why are we so far from them? If we want this feeling, they're there. And so I think that was one of the reasons we went back, to be closer to our family.
I was in this environmental policy program, and all I talked about was the village nonstop. So like my advisors are like, you know, there's something there. We can do something with you. And so I ended up going, my research project or whatever, my master's thesis was, it got me back into the villages. Like I got funding to go back and spend different hunting seasons with them, hunting with them, and it was awesome. I remember when I flew in, it was just like the same feeling I had the first time. Just like I felt like a little boy. And so here I was walking my backpack, walking, you know, and then people coming by on their four-wheelers, like Felix Matthew, he was like the school maintenance guy, and just this double take, and everyone was doing double takes, and are you teaching? Timok, you're teaching, you come back, come over for tea. I felt like I was coming home, like I was all teary-eyed. It was like everyone was very welcoming, and I mean, arguing who I was going to stay with. Like just that 1 year in Chafornik totally changed the way I look at like my world, and the way I treat my wife, the way I look at my kids. Beneficially, it was like I learned, I think, how to be I had no idea. I learned how to be a better person.